Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hello friends, continuing with our series of lectures on the course of Introduction to FinTech, today we will be having an understanding of what is FinTech ecosystem. I am Dr. Aparna Samudra from the Department of Economics, RTM Nagpur University, Nagpur, and we are discussing what is FinTech ecosystem. In this lecture, our objectives will be to explain the components of the FinTech ecosystem. Thereafter, we will understand that how does this ecosystem work. And then, of course, we will have a look at the challenges and opportunities in the operation of this ecosystem. Now, let's start by understanding the FinTech ecosystem's meaning. FinTech ecosystem refers to network of various stakeholders working together to innovate and improve financial services. So all those stakeholders, all those groups of individuals, institutions who are working together to innovate and improve the financial services through technology are a part of FinTech ecosystem. Therefore, the FinTech ecosystem includes startups, established financial institutions, or we also call them as incumbent financial institutions or traditional financial institutions. Then we have technology providers, investors, regulators, and consumers. So whenever we talk about a FinTech ecosystem, we are talking about a group of institutions, group of individuals who are either FinTech startups, established financial institutions, technology providers, investors, regulators, and consumers. Now, as we have said earlier, this network of the stakeholders work together to innovate and improve financial services. If we see the history, historically, as we have seen in the previous lectures, banks were the primary providers of financial products and services. If you want to have a revision, you can go back to the lecture on the concept of fintechs, wherein we have differentiated between traditional finance providers and fintech companies. So, historically, banks were the primary providers of financial products and services. It is not that learners that today banks do not play a role. Banks still play a very crucial role and are at the center of the growing web of the connected fintech apps and services. Why? Because these are the institutions which are licensed to operate in the financial field. The fintech ecosystem is characterized by the collaboration of its participants, and not only collaboration, but also providing synergy to each other. This symbiotic relationship between the fintech startups and the established players fosters growth and maturation within this industry. So, all the stakeholders are collaborating, creating a network, and eventually, what are they doing? They are creating synergies, hence fostering the growth and maturity within this industry. Now, let us see graphically all the components of the fintech ecosystem, and thereafter we will see the role each one of them performs. So, in the center, of course, in the fintech ecosystem, one of the stakeholders, as we have said in the definition also, are the fintech startups. Then we have regulators, established financial institutions, technology providers who many times provide the necessary infrastructure, consumers. So these are the 5 major stakeholders who are a part of the fintech ecosystem. Now let us start with fintech startups. These are the new technology companies that offer innovative solutions in the financial industry. So those companies which are innovating are at a very nascent stage, but they are technology-based companies that, what do? They offer innovative solutions in the financial industries. As we saw the, who are the components of the fintech ecosystem, we had talked about disruptors. So fintech startups are essentially the disruptors of the system. What do? They focus on solving the pain points. They find out that where the demand gap exists. What are the pain points of the consumers or even of the traditional banking institutions? So through technology, through innovating solutions, they are focusing on the pain points which are necessarily accessibility, speed, and cost. So by focusing on providing accessibility through technology of the financial services, speeding up the delivery of these services, and reduction in the cost is the prime aim of these fintech startups. Now, these fintech startups are agile, that is, they are very flexible, and also they are customer-centric, unlike the traditional banks. The categories in which the fintech startups exist are in payments, lending, wealth tech, insurtech, and regtech. Now, some of the examples of the fintech startups and the impact which they are putting in the ecosystem are, as we have said, that fintech exists in the field of payments, they exist in the field of lending, wealth tech, and insurtech. So when we talk about payments essentially we are saying it is that type of a fintech startup which is enabling digital payments from their platforms. So for example, Paytm, PhonePe, Google Pay exemplify the UPI adoption. Similarly, if we see lending, some of the startups which are working in this field are, for example, CreditPay, BharatPe, which offer small digital loans. In the field of wealth tech, we have the example of Zerodha and Grow, which are democratizing savings and investing for everyone. And then we have insurtech, where you have online digital insurance brokers like Policybazaar, and Acko, which is the first digital insurance company in India, through which they provide easy access to insurance to the people. So what are they doing? They are basically driving financial inclusion in semi-urban and the rural India, where the traditional financial institutions were unable to make a mark. Using technology, these fintech startups are driving financial inclusion in semi-urban areas as well as in the rural India. The next stakeholder in the fintech ecosystem are the established financial institutions. They are existing players like banks, non-banking financial companies, and insurance companies. Their strength lies in their capital base, the customer trust, and the compliance systems, because they have been established for a very, very long period of time. They have their own brand loyal customers, and they're also they are very well established in terms of their branding. They also have a big balance sheet in terms of the deposits that they have, or in terms of the people who have taken insurance or loans from them. So their capital base in terms of both money as well as in terms of customers is very strong. So hence it remains their strength. What do? They offer financial infrastructure like payment rails, credit history, and risk management. They are also the custodians as well as collaborators with fintech. So as we just saw the diagram in which within the fintech ecosystem, they are not operating in isolation, they are not operating in silos, they are networking and collaborating with each other to give synergy. So these established financial institutions, you can think of many such names. For example, public sector banks. You can think of companies on insurance like LIC or other general insurance providers. Similarly, many NBFCs like Shriram Finance, they are all in the established financial institutions stakeholders. They're also the custodians as well as the collaborators. To make you understand how fintechs and banks are collaborating and also competing. Now, when we talk about competition and collaboration, we'll understand that fintechs are competing or they're giving competition to the banks because banks are generally slower in processing their loans. Whereas fintechs are disrupting these traditional banking models by innovating new products, bringing these new products like buy now, pay later, which we also call as BNPL, P2P loans, that is peer-to-peer loans. So what they are essentially doing is that they are bringing pressure on the banks, margins, speed, and customer experiences. Because customers are now getting loans at a faster rate and an improved customer experiences, banks are facing pressure because less people are approaching to them to take loans. When we talk about collaborations, as we have seen that these traditional financial institutions have a strength in terms of trust of the people, licenses to operate these banking services, and also they are stronger in terms of the compliances and the risk management. They can collaborate with fintechs, wherein fintech bring technology and agility into the system. One of a very popular example we can think of here is SBI YONO app, which is a full-service digital banking, wherein SBI, which has a banking license, which is the largest public sector bank in our country, it is providing digital banking experience to its customer through the YONO app. Or we can also talk about HDFC Bank, which is another very big private sector bank. It is providing or it has collaborated with PayZapp for seamless digital transaction. So, what we can say is that cooperative is the future. That is, fintech ecosystem is becoming cooperative. That is, it is cooperating as well as it is competing, which is purely vital. Though both the traditional financial institutions and the fintechs can only can grow together when they have a model where they are not complacent by just cooperating, but they are also competing with each other. Hence, this benefits through wider reach, innovation, and improved compliances. Fintechs will be answerable for improved compliances, faster innovation, because banks are also adopting technology. So both of them will be innovating new products, and of course, it will lead to a wider reach. One of the very pertinent example in this area is what we call as phygital banking. Phygital banking, that is, this word is a mix of two words, physical and digital. So a banking which is adopting a model of having physical branches, but they are digital branches as well, is called as phygital banking. Now in phygital banking, it is blending the need of customers who would like to complete their day-to-day banking transactions independently and faster, as well as this banking is also catering to the customers who require physical or human assistance. Now, phygital branches of Bank of Baroda is a very good example of how this bank, which is a public sector bank, has adopted digital banking into its services. So, Bank of Baroda an Indian public sector bank has opened 7 phygital branches till May 2025. These branches combine the familiarity of traditional bank and mortar banking with the efficiency of modern technology. These branches are equipped with advanced features like 24/7 self-service kiosks, a video contact center for non-financial services, and universal service desks to provide in-person assistance. I have a video for you on how Bank of Baroda is using these phygital branches to enhance the customer experience. Have a look at this video.
Introducing the Phygital Branch, a place where cutting-edge technology meets exceptional personalized service. Let's take a quick tour of the branch and see how we combine the best of both worlds for our customers. We currently have Phygital branches in 3 locations: Honeyman Circle, Mumbai; Vileparle West, Mumbai; and Chandanagar, Hyderabad. As you step in, you'll notice our self-service kiosks and ATMs, designed to make banking faster and more convenient, while the self-service passbook printing kiosk ensures that keeping track of your transactions is just a few clicks away. We have the interactive touchscreen self-service kiosk and tablets. These devices currently offer 20 services, including PAN updates, account statements via email, TDS certificates, and nominee updates, with more services to be added soon. This means you have access to a wide and ever-growing range of banking services at your fingertips, ensuring 24/7 customer convenience. For those seeking more personalized interaction, our Video Contact Center provides the opportunity to engage directly with our team through video calls, offering a range of non-financial services. It's a convenient and interactive way to receive support without the wait. Our commitment to exceptional service continues with our priority service counters, dedicated exclusively to our high net worth individuals. In addition, the branch features universal service counters that provides a one-stop solution for all banking needs, ensuring a seamless and efficient experience for everyone.
I'm sure you must have enjoyed this video and understood that how fintech is entering into our day-to-day lives. Now let us go to the next stakeholder in the fintech ecosystem, which are the regulators. Regulators are vital participants in the fintech ecosystem as they establish frameworks that govern how financial services operate. Because finance is all about money, it is very important that these services are regulated. So regulators, therefore, are establishing frameworks that govern how these services are going to be operated. Their role is crucial in ensuring consumer protection while promoting innovation within the industry. So it is not only the adoption of technology through the regulatory framework which is encouraged, it is also seen that the consumers are protected. Regulatory landscape in India includes RBI, which is looking into digital lending, digital payments, and NBFC oversights. SEBI, which is regulating the stock market in India. It is also regulating robo-advisors and wealth tech platforms. IRDA, which is a regulator of insurance sector in India. It regulates the digital insurance products. And then NPCI, which manages UPI, RuPay, and Aadhaar-enabled systems. Government and regulation agencies can positively impact different dimensions of this fintech ecosystem by simplifying regulations, ensuring security, transparency, or fairness. However, a negative impact may be created if these regulators become very rigid and there are bureaucratic regulations, because of which the system, instead of becoming agile and speedy, becomes very rigid. They also play a very important role in the present day context when the firms are innovating, when the technology is changing very faster. in creating regulatory sandboxes wherein they allow these fintech startups to start implementing their products, but in a controlled regulatory framework. Key guidelines in India in context of fintech ecosystem are RBI's digital lending norms of 2022 and SEBI on the robo-advisory. The next stakeholder in the fintech ecosystem are the technology providers. They are the essential enablers within this system because they provide infrastructure, tools, and platforms necessary for developing and deploying fintech solutions. What technologies are required? The technologies that are required to enable a smooth and streamlined fintech ecosystem are cloud computing. So, for example, AWS, Azure, and GCP, they are all the cloud computing, cloud providers or cloud technology providers. APIs and open banking frameworks are other technologies which are needed when we talk about digital lending. Cyber security and fraud detection is a very important area, as we have understood earlier that how cyber security and data breach are the major challenges of the fintech ecosystem. So those technology providers which are ensuring that all these transactions remain secure, as well as the fraud detection techniques are also an important technology which is being provided by these providers. For example, we talk about Razorpay. It provides APIs which enables payments for the startups. Now, what are the emerging technologies in fintech? Because we are saying that technology providers play a vital role. Some of the emerging technologies which are provided by these firms for the fintech are AI/ML, which is used for credit scoring, chatbots, and fraud detection. Blockchain technology, which is used for smart contracts, crypto payments, and CBDCs, that is central bank digital currencies. Biometric and digital identity, which is used for Aadhaar or eKYC. For example, NPCI's biometric authentication through Aadhaar-enabled system and Aadhaar-enabled payment system is one example of how emerging technology is being used in finance, or how these technology providers are playing a role in bringing or giving the customer experiences. And then we have the most important stakeholder of the fintech ecosystem, who are the consumers, because they are the ultimate users of the fintech offerings and whose preferences and demand drive the innovation within the ecosystem. So at the heart of the fintech ecosystem remains the customers, because they are the ones who are going to demand, and their demand drives the innovation. Not only that, they are also the providers of the data, and using this data, personalized services or insights are provided to them. Consumers' engagement with fintech platforms provide essential feedback to refine experience and products. Adoption factors, that is, on what are the variables or what are the factors which influence the adoption of fintechs by these customers. It includes trust, convenience, and affordability. Trust, why? Because they are going to invest or they are going to give their hard-earned money in the system. Convenience, if the platform is difficult to operate, if the user interface is difficult to understand, they may not like to adopt that fintech technology. And of course, affordability, because cost is what matters to all. Now, after understanding that who are all the stakeholders of this fintech ecosystem, let us have a brief look on how this fintech ecosystem works. As we have just said, it is a demand-driven system. It is the consumers who are going to demand the product. It is the consumer who is going to give the data. So it starts with the demand from the consumer. consumer feels that something needs to be there, some addition in this service needs to be there, some new type of a product is required. So that demand gets generated from the consumer side. Fintech firms find that demand and they find that there is a gap in the supply of that type of a technology or that type of a service or that type of a financial product. So they recognize that, develop products. They then deploy these products through technology infrastructure. Regulators, through policies, through designing framework, see to it that the products and the technology which has been designed, whether it fits into the regulations of the country or not, and how the frameworks can be established so that the consumer is protected. And then after that, the delivery of this fintech product take place. But it is a closed loop. After the delivery, if certain loopholes or if certain uncharted areas are still left, consumers again demand it and the whole process again starts. Now let us see that how this system works, which seems to be a very simple system. For example, when you make a payment using any of the apps, you just click on the button of send, you put an OTP or you put your PIN and the transaction happens. But is it so simple? No. Let us understand the process, that how it starts. So it starts by consumer opening the payment app. So what is the user doing? User is initiating the transaction. For example, you go to a grocery store, you scan a QR code to make the payment. So what have you done? You have opened your payment app and you have initiated the transaction. Then what is going to happen? Now it goes to the fintech app. Fintech app takes the command that the user wants to send money. So it initiates a transaction by requesting the bank of the consumer to allow the consumer to pay the bill. What does the bank do? The bank processes this request. How is the bank going to process the request? Bank is going to verify and it is going to approve. It is going to verify that the person who has requested, is he the same who is holding the account in their bank? So bank, if it is okay, if it is authenticated, bank verifies and approves. Then what happens? Once the bank approves, it goes to this approval routes through NPCI. NPCI routes the payment through their network. In this process, RBI also oversees some compliances to ensure that the regulatory oversight does not happen and it ensures security of this whole transaction. After this, the merchant receives the money instantly and the funds are transferred to the merchant. So, behind the scene, so many people are operating, even though it appears that at a click of a mouse, I have initiated the payment and the merchant or the person on the other hand has received the payment. But within this, all these stakeholders are playing a role. So, let us have a quick revision of what we have understood in this lecture. We have understood that fintech ecosystem comprises of a network of banks, fintech companies, apps, technology providers, regulators, and consumers. Each component of this ecosystem or each stakeholder in this ecosystem is playing a very unique role and is very important in this whole fintech ecosystem. The working of the fintech ecosystem starts and ends at the customer. It is the customer who generates the demand of the product. It is the customer who feels that something needs to be done. And then it is picked up by the fintech startups who are the disruptors who will see that using the consumer demand, how it can be approved. Then comes the role of the traditional banks, NPCI, RBI, and then the service is provided or the fund is transferred to the customer. So what looks like a one click on our phone is actually a long chain of interaction behind the scenes. So I hope, learners, that you have enjoyed understanding that what happens at back of the scene behind whatever transaction we are making through fintech. So thank you very much and happy learning.